Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wannabes podcast. I'm Morgan, that's Luke, and that's Dreaded, and we're your hosts for this evening. And it's October, so that means we're diving into another wonderful, spooky movie review. Sorry, I
Spooky
forgot.
for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
It's got a spooky vibe. It's got a very, very gritty vibe. You know,
it's got a vibe.
I'll give it that.
It feels like it belongs in this universe. I totally believe that this is a sequel to the first one. You know, it's got the same vibe.
So tonight we are
It's like the second nicest thing I can say about it.
Tonight we are, as Luke just alluded to, reviewing the sequel to Joker. So we're specifically reviewing Joker 2 or Joker Folie et Deux. So
Adieu.
Folie et Deux.
Folie et Deux.
I'm sorry, Cosmonaut Marcus, I stole your joke. Don't come after us for that.
What I want to say real quick, guys, is Dreaded, if you don't mind me stealing before we get into the box office, one of the little news bits that you put in about this movie is you know, they decided to not test this and have any tests with any audience anywhere, right? However, it did go and premiere at a film festival where it got, I'm not even joking, 11-minute standing ovation. 11 minutes of straight clapping. And I want to know how.
They were paid.
That doesn't
They were paid.
I mean, I will get into that when we do the review because I have my thoughts on just the whole, in my opinion, the making of this movie anyway. So
completely agree. But let's go ahead and get into box office first. That way we can go into tearing this bitch apart. But
let's do it.
All right, so first things first, this is just a little over 2 hours long. And that's way longer than it needed to be. The budget the budget for this film was 190 to 200 million. And guys, this box office is bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. So 5 weeks ahead of the release, Box Office Pro projected that the film would easily gross at least 100 million in its opening weekend in the United States and Canada, and outgrossed its predecessor debut of 96.2 million. So
I would have made that guess.
I would have too. I think that would have been a very fair guess.
Even with the bad press.
So with estimates at 115 to 145 million, despite receiving mixed reviews at Venice like its predecessor, 2 weeks after projections dropped to 70 million, and the week of release, estimates became 55 to 60 million. After it made 20 million on its first day, including an estimated 7 million from Thursday night previews, projections dropped again to 45 million for the weekend. It went on to debut at 37.7 million from 4,102 theaters, topping the box office, becoming way below expectations. As of October 8th, Joker Folie et Deux has grossed 42.1 million in the United States and Canada and 75.1 million in other territories for a worldwide total of 117.3 million. And it has been estimated by Variety that the film would need to gross about 450 million in order to actually break even.
Of course it does. Look at that big ass budget. Fucking morons! We've been over this before on this damn podcast with inflating that budget for the sake of a possible higher box office to make the studio more money. And look what you did. You shot yourself in the foot. Meanwhile, the first movie was made on a budget of 55 to 7 million and still looked phenomenal. Why did you need more money?
Can I also just say on that side, though, is like this opening, right? Just like the opening previews. The Friday night was 7 million in domestic previews for Thursday night, sorry. That's less than The Flash. The Flash had 9.7. The Marvels had 6.6, so it just barely beat out the Marvels. Like, It's
Oof.
literally nearly 50% below the first film's preview earnings, and basically the budget's tripled that of the first film.
It
Yikes.
shows. I
Yeah,
mean, it shows
it does.
a lot went into sets and set design,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I don't think it looks bad. This is actually a really nice looking movie. I definitely see where the budget went.
Yeah.
It's not the money that fucked everything up. It's just the creative choices. You know,
And
we'll get into it more in a minute, I'm sure. But
and like for me, the creative choices that were the problem are more story and like
Yeah.
pacing, like because like
so
visually, it's a fantastic film. It is
right,
well made.
that's
That
why it doesn't surprise me that it got an 11-minute ovation because this is a very self-indulgent film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The first one's pretty self-indulgent, honestly. It's very much trying to be like this like rebel movie, this rebel superhero movie. We're gonna do things. We're gonna do things you haven't seen before. We're gonna just be weird and different, and everything's gonna be gritty and dirty. And we're gonna make a superhero movie that you've never seen before, or a comic book movie, I should say. This is very much the same thing, except it's dialed up to like 1,000.
yeah, and unfortunately not well either.
I mean,
Because
I think there's a good movie in here. We've said shit
100%.
like that before. I totally
100%.
think there's a good movie in here. The whole trial and shit. That would, by the way, this is in the trailers. The whole courtroom scene. That courtroom scene is my favorite scene.
which one?
The main one, I guess,
Okay.
towards the end. You know.
I see.
Oh, when my man goes on the stand. I don't want to
Y-
spoil anything.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because
I really like that.
oh yeah, but that part makes me fucking mad though, because where was this the whole fucking movie? Where was this? Where? God damn, if we're not spoiling it, this is gonna be hard to word around. But I'm gonna do my best. Don't worry. But yeah, that part makes me fucking mad because this. Why isn't this the movie? Why is we gotten everything? Hang on. Okay, let's rewind for a
Yeah,
minute.
it's on words.
I'm gonna go back to what Morgan said. How well made the film is. That's literally that's actually the best thing I can say about the film. It is really well done. It is shot well. It looks great. Cinematography is fantastic. The color grading is phenomenal. The performances are still really great. But I'm gonna get to something. I'm gonna get to kind of a yin and yang with that later with Joaquin Phoenix actually.
Sure.
Yeah, like when it comes to the filmmaking, yeah, it's really good. Like I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. But like you said, it's the story that's
Yeah.
the issue.
Absolutely.
It is the choices they made on where they wanted to go after following Joker 2019. Which also I'm pretty sure that did not want a sequel for that. We didn't really need one. Why are we here? Why are we here? Damn it!
So
Because money.
absolutely, 100% the money. Now
Your
I
Xbox
want
controller
to.
died.
When I left,
You hear that? Somebody
when
signed in. That's what that is.
when I left the theater, I was so perplexed because there is a lot in this film that I actually like, but there is so much that I hate. And like at the very least I can say one thing, whether you want to take it as a good or a bad thing, this movie was thought provoking. I had a whole spiel with Dan in the car ride home. He did not want to drive home, so I made him type up all of my thoughts for me. I was like, I can't forget these. Please type while I speak.
Yikes.
Way to put him to work.
I
Why not
did.
just voice record it?
Because I didn't want to have to like transpose that voice recording for the show.
Yeah, no,
Right.
no. Daniel needs to be put to work for sure. No. I agree. with this.
Okay. Very
I
good.
offered him to drive us home so I could do it myself, and he said no. So
The only thing I'm gonna spoil about this movie is the fact that I really like the first one in the sense that there's still that air of like, is it all in his head?
100%.
Is this really happening or not?
Mhm.
This one, there is no nuance at all. They're just like, it's in his head. Like from
That is
Jump
true.
Street too. We got a nice little Looney Tunes animation at the beginning, which I thought was cool. I dug that opening. I love the Looney Tunes, but then like after that, and that gives you a pretty good idea actually of what this movie's kind of going to be. So I was pretty much ready to go after that, but I had heard before from other reviews that or just even a discussion that it felt like, because this is definitely a musical. That's not a spoiler. That's common knowledge. But like how much of a musical this is caught me off guard.
They really
And
downplayed it in marketing.
they did it, and they still are. Like they're showing,
Yep.
they're making it seem like it's an action movie. It's not. It's not. But it does feel like these musical numbers were put in here because Lady Gaga is playing Harley Quinn, which is a bummer because she actually is a pretty damn good actress.
So I
go
just want to go off of that thought. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of the music I actually don't dislike because I think it kind of shows that like an interesting bit of his mental state. They're like
Sure.
him kind of breaking out, like, because he is this supposed to be this performer. Like seeing him actually take on like some performance and doing some singing, I thought worked. But I think what killed that is the overkill of musical numbers that we got. I think
Yeah.
if we had gotten less music, it would have been more for the film.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
like Anthony said, the performances in this movie are great because there's phenomenal actors and actresses in this. Everybody brings it. You know, nobody phones in a performance in this. Everybody is in this movie like it's supposed to be, just as good as as Joker was.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks that they put that much hard work into it, but that's what it feels like. Yeah, the musical numbers, it's kind of grating when it's musical number, little bit dialogue, musical number, little bit dialogue, musical number. It's like every really good scene is opened up with a musical and bookended by a musical, and it just, not, again, like you said, not that they're bad, because there are some really good ones in here that I
Mm-hmm.
think do work well with the story, but then there's some that are just self-indulgent.
I
Mhm.
think a lot of those self-indulgent musical numbers is what creates this film. Like, the biggest thing I could say leaving this film is that it felt very disjointed, and I feel like that's a big part of it. Is all of these musical numbers that weren't necessary. Like, less is more in this case with this character and with the musical numbers. But there's a lot of other stuff I have problems with. Like, it's not just the music that's I wish I could say that's the only problem there is with this film, but it isn't.
No, no,
Well,
well, because the story doesn't make a whole lot of sense either.
Not at
It's
all.
very,
you guys know me though.
cut.
Like you guys know me, I hate musicals, so I was not happy when I heard that actually. However,
Yeah.
I did think about this that considering what the first movie was, that yeah, like you said, he's a performer. That actually sort of does make sense. And some of the musicals were fine. The very first one we got, like, actually, this isn't bad. I say hate musicals, but
Yeah.
this isn't bad.
Right?
And there's one that takes place in our courtroom that I actually really liked because
Yeah, I like that one too.
because of something I'll get into later. And then there's one that's I don't like, but I like because it was a good performance. I guess if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, it makes the film disjointed. It feels like we got way too many freaking musical numbers in this movie, and nothing that I guess was quote unquote interesting got to just sit. It's just like, nope,
Right.
start singing. And even when it's not like a huge sequence, of course, somebody just had to start singing without the sequence. Fucking Lady Gaga, you bitch. Like, do you have any idea? I was in that theater just like, stop singing! Stop, please!
Yeah, I feel like there's this interesting thing going on with these musical numbers. Like, a lot of the ones that we see of them like on a stage together, like Harley and Joker, like, we don't need that. I
Arthur.
think that's way, like, sure, it gives some like interesting, like, how do I want to put foreshadowing if you want to
Mhm.
take the time to read into it, sure. But I didn't need that foreshadowing because I already got the vibes from everything else that was happening. And
That's true.
there was a lot, like, I can't say like there's the one in um the courtroom that you're speaking of. There was another quite a few that were actually in the prison themselves, in Arkham prison, where like it's like, okay, this is like, I can see this happening. I can see this be a part of his mentality and his mental state and his mental health, is why like it almost plays into the drama of his psyche.
Mhm.
But, as I'll digress because I'll die on this hill. There was just too much. Too much of it.
Yep, I agree. And of course, I'm gonna agree because I fucking hate musicals.
I strongly feel that, as you guys just said, not that much was needed because there's enough there character-wise. I really
Mhm.
like where Arthur Fleck is at in this film and where he
Yeah.
ends up going with it. I love the look of Arkham and stuff. And that's the other thing too, is that I feel like the musicals take away from the setting that we have because it all gets pretty fantastical and it gets very stage play ish. And even though everything is well choreographed and everybody sings pretty well, Joaquin, I mean, for the character he's playing, maybe he can sing or not, but like I'm fine with the way he sings.
Yeah,
Um,
it works for the
everything
character.
everything is good, but it's just that shift in tone and just vibe and everything that the movie changes. It's like two different movies going on at once. I don't necessarily have an issue with that if there isn't as much.
Sure.
I feel like when you talk about tone, the tone that the movie goes for when it's not a musical definitely really is noticeable with the tone that it goes for when it is a musical. And okay, I gotta start really shitting on this movie about what I hate about it. And we have to go into the first film. Look, the first film was the descent into madness for Arthur Fleck, and I'm fine with that. I've always had some reservations about Arthur Fleck. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I mean, I'm always up for different interpretations, but we'll save some of this conversation for later. But I liked the descent into madness, and I have a huge problem with this film with it not really taking advantage of the fact that, look, we saw you become Joker. We know what you became. Why are we kind of regressing back to Arthur?
Because no balls.
And exactly. Like, if the movie stuck with how he is at the end of the first film, like with some of the stuff we see in one of those musical numbers and how he is when he is Joker in this film, I think it would have worked fine. The tone of musical and what they're doing, because, we're supposed to be watching you in the madness. Why do we digress? Why are we back to like how you kind of were in the first film before you even were fully Joker?
See, I didn't mind that. I honestly didn't mind that because I like the duality. Like in the first one, again, all of that is kind of up in the air. Is he an inmate the whole time? Is he actually the Joker? Is this happening? Is it not? Whereas in this one, like I said, they take that completely out of the way and they just show you everything, including this. Like he is doing both in this film. He's doing Arthur Fleck, and then you see at certain points throughout the movie he turns into the Joker, like right in front of you. I dug that. I appreciated seeing the duality of it. I don't. Well, actually, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change how I'm gonna say this. I like that, which leads into the ending that I'm not gonna get into, but I do really like that ending because of the duality. It all kind of comes to a head in the courtroom scene that we've been mentioning. But up until then, I do like seeing him play with both sides because it is something that he can turn on. As you were saying, he's a performer. So when it's time to perform, he is the Joker. When he's not performing, he's Arthur Fleck. I'm cool with that. I didn't have an issue. However, if there was a Joker sequel that was what you're saying, and they kept going in that direction, I also would have loved that too. Like I would have loved that movie because that probably doesn't have any musical numbers in it. But I digress.
So
I would prefer that too.
I do want to say, like, one of the themes that I'm going to spoil. Sorry, it's mentioned very early. Is there's a lot of playing with the theme of, like, especially with him going to court, that Arthur and Joker are split personalities, that he has split personality disorder, and that he needs help with mental health. And I love that. I love that play because it does make you wonder, does he have this mental disorder, or is he just the performer who turns it on and off, or is that his actual split personalities turning it on and off, right? So I said to Dan that one thing that, like, through like these musicals and these fantasies we get, the theme the movie itself has split personality disorder. Like there's a lot going on that I think that plays into really well in terms of the split. We see his struggle of being Arthur, but sometimes being tempted to be Joker, or eventually becoming Joker again. We see almost like this interesting split thematically in terms of being this really interesting grungy court drama to drama musical. So there are things where they connect and work really well in a way if you take time to sit back and think about it. But then there's areas where you get to it and, like, you feel like they're about to push to the next part, and they're about to ramp it up a little bit further to what we would expect from the Joker to potentially do, and then they immediately, like, put on the brakes and pull you away. I almost felt like I was getting a lot of whiplash from the disjointness of this film, and I just find find it so like disappointing because like it pushes the limit of my enjoyability. It's like I'm sitting here wanting him to go further, to go crazy. There's a part with Harvey
Dent.
Dent, because we see him in the trailer. There's a part with Harvey Dent that I'm like, okay, let's make him Two-Face because he ain't there yet. Like, there's just so many problems. I like. It's hard because I want to do spoilers and I keep like backtracking. Sorry, guys.
No
So I don't
spoilers for
like
you.
dive into spoilers. But part of me wonders because there was a lot of comments on social media of people saying, "Oh, the first film attracted a lot of the wrong audience, the audience that this spoke a little too much to, and not necessarily the most healthy way." And part of me wonders if they didn't ever take that extra leap because they were afraid of that. And it's disappointing because people can go and enjoy these films and realize these are just films. These should not inform your mental psyche. But I wanted them to push those limits. Maybe that says something about me. I don't know.
I'm okay with it. Hell, I actually like what the first film brought in because I kind of low key. I know, no, we're not gonna save it. I'm not gonna talk about that right now. Shit. What was I? I think I fucking lost. No, I didn't actually fully lose it though, because I actually really don't like the concept of the split personality thing. Actually, not really.
Why is that?
Well, because it's Joker. That's why this bothers me so much. Because for one, the first movie, like again, we saw the descent into madness, and I'm not a fan of regressing, go back to being Arthur, then sometimes being Joker. The big issue is that's not a horrible idea if they didn't call these films Joker movies, because like, I mean, I'm not trying to be that kind of fanboy or nothing like that, but I just like, and nope, I can't talk about that. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to word this without getting too much into spoilers, but
So
also making a point.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
If they decided to keep the subtlety angle of it,
Mhm.
like
Sure.
I said, the first one. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, but everything in the first one is pretty subtle. It's pretty much up to your interpretation, which is what everybody loves about the Joker anyway. He even says, I think it's in The Killing Joke, if I'm gonna have an origin story, I want it to be multiple choice, right?
Mhm.
And that is something that everybody like. It's like the Joker Bible when you're doing something like this. This very much fits in those parameters too. But if they were going to keep going with the nuanced version that they did in the first one, then yeah, I'd be like, the split personality is stupid because it's supposed to be like up to my interpretation. But since they take that out, and I just get to really focus on the character of Arthur Fleck, all right, cool, I'm okay with it. But everything else is in there as well.
Yeah.
I think what I like that we get more Arthur in this, and we kind of get this like breakaway from the descent into madness, because I think that's the only reason why honestly the placement of, in this specific case, in the specific type of Harley that we have been given, makes sense. In
How do we
this
feel about
film,
Harley?
Why the fuck are you here?
there is a couple moments where I can say that, okay, you really feel like Harley, but most of the time I'm like, this isn't fully Harley. This isn't the original origin to like how really the love of Joker and Harley starts, and like this awful toxicity of a relationship that they have. This is a different take on it, which I don't hate. She's a bit more of the manipulator in this situation. And I sadly like Harley with Arthur more times than I like seeing Harley with any like bits of Joker. And I don't know how to exactly describe that. I think that's just because maybe that's where I feel like Lady Gaga was maybe the strongest in her acting, and her performances. But knowing how this ends, I wanted them to push further, like near the end. Like I think there was a lot of good build. If they pushed it further than where they ended up taking it, that there could have been a really nice build for that like love-hate relationship that Harley and Joker have, when they're not in like the relationship, that where there's that betrayal between the two characters, but there's also this like hatred, but there's this love, and it's like really toxic and weird and crazy and just fucking wild. I think that
Right.
could have been ramped up to that by the
But they
end of the
didn't.
film, but it didn't happen because of how they paced it and changed things.
I like this Harley. Honestly,
I don't mind
like
her.
I don't like the singing. I don't like the musical portions of Harley, but the character arc that they have Harley do from her introduction to the ending and the twist that's kind of in between there,
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it.
I
Like
do
you said,
too.
I thought it was kind of cool to see Harley be the one in control for a change.
Yeah.
That
it
is a nice change. I
It
give you
was a
that.
nice little twist. And the lengths that this character goes to just meet Arthur Fleck. You know, like they let you know real quick
That'd be
that
cray cray.
that Harley, even though she has, because they do say in the movie that she has her degrees and shit, her madness, her crazy is all on her own. It's just in there. She is just off her rocker. And I'm cool with that. I like the choices that they made. They are bold choices that they made with Harley. Bold choices
Yeah.
in general. I don't hate them all. It's just execution.
I do not like Harley in this movie because I kind of just really don't see the point of why are you even here, really. And that also goes into just, I guess, what the actual plot of the story is, which I'm just going to be real. It's the trial of Arthur Fleck.
It all makes sense to me by the time the credits roll. Honestly,
Sure.
for me, when the
Oh, that's
ending
fair.
happens, that's when I go, okay, I get it now.
Also,
But-
not a fan of the ending.
I love the ending. Honestly, I really do love the ending. However, I'm not a fan of how we got to that point. You know, I feel like, but I was expecting a different movie, so I can't hold it. I don't want to completely hold it against this movie. That's not what I wanted. But even though it is a musical and it's a Joker film, it's not a well executed one. So I can still hold it on that merit. But like, it's definitely not the movie that I thought I was gonna get.
Likewise, I mean, you have a point there. I guess what Nostalgia Critic says is instead of wishing for what it could have been, just accept for what it is. But for what it is, I still just don't like it, really, because well, it still has to go up against that first film that I feel did such a good setup to, again, the descent into madness.
Yeah.
Only just for them to kind of go, no, tone it back, let's come back, then sort of go like.
You know what this is? You know
what
what this
is
is?
this?
Honestly, this is the same thing I feel like as Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. You make a first one, and we're never supposed to get another one, and then they just dump a buttload of cash in front of you, and then you go, all right, but I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, and the studio goes, yeah, okay, you make the money, go for it.
I mean, shit. Even James Gunn, offered some advice and like some info here and there, and then Todd just didn't even use it because he wanted no help from DC. Warner Bros. Just let him go do his thing, and now look at how much money he's gonna end up costing Warner Bros.
He's an assassin at that point. It doesn't matter. He's for hire. He's a fucking gun for hire. That's it. He probably was straight up like, I'm not doing another one. Yeah, but like, we're gonna give you this much. Okay, I'm gonna do it, but you don't get to have any fucking say.
Sure.
I'm gonna do whatever I want if I sign this contract. Cool. That's basically what you did last time.
Tell you what,
Awesome.
the movie could have been at least 40 minutes shorter. If
we all agree on
Warner Brothers, another L, trying to make a damn sequel to a film that really didn't need a damn sequel.
I wonder, in respect to James Gunn, I wonder if they like inked this deal before James Gunn got in, because I'm pretty sure Joker was made under the old regime. So I'm wondering, and then James Gunn is like, wait, you're doing what? Hang on a second, buddy. And then Todd is like, nah, the deal's signed, bro. I'm doing whatever I want. Get out of here. I can see that. I can see that being the case. So I'm saying.
But anyway, I got to return to what I was saying because I got to finish these thoughts actually because I have a lot of why this movie just kind of doesn't work for me, honestly. Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, Descent into Madness, then we just kind of pull it back, honestly. And I have a huge problem with that because these movies are supposed to be Joker movies. Now, I'm not going to be the guy who says that Joker has to follow this specific set of rules to be the Joker. Anyone can have a different interpretation of a character and still work. Hell, I'm probably one of the biggest defenders of Ben Affleck as Batman and Jared Leto as the Joker, honestly. Sure, they have their changes and stuff like that. But the way I see those guys is I feel like there's still enough in there to really say I still feel like these are these characters just in a completely different universe. Arthur Fleck always felt odd to me. I can accept a different interpretation, but something about these movies saying this is Joker always felt super off. Like, are you though? Like, I get the vibe that what I've always thought that Todd Phillips wanted to make a film about a mentally disturbed person who descended into madness, but he went to Warner Brothers for it, and Warner Brothers, because DC Universe was really not popping off as much as they wanted it to, decided,
But what if
hey,
it was Joker?
what if we can make this a Joker movie? And Todd was like, okay, we can work with that, but I still want like majority of how I visioned it, and that's what I feel like. You throw Gotham City in there, you throw the Waynes in there and stuff like that, fine. But I never felt like I was truly watching a actual Joker movie, other than just Joker in name, not the actual DC character. That I think is that's the best way I can say it.
If
It kind of feels like
may,
Godzilla '98, Godzilla in name, not an actual character. Actually,
Yeah. I just have a question for you, going off of like how you say like Arthur never fully felt like Joker. Is it
Mhm.
because that there is this actual like underlying like sweetness and caring side to him? And I ask that only because like we do see the return of a character that
Mhm.
from the first film, and I love that scene when they take the stand and it really actually affects Arthur slash Joker. I loved that. I was just curious, like if it doesn't, cool. I was just
I'm
wondering.
gonna say no because up until that point, you have no idea like that's coming. You know what I mean? Like
yes
there's
and no.
okay.
I mean, I knew there was always this kind of like sweet caring side to Arthur.
By the
There always
time the
has
first
been.
movie ends, he is murdering people in Arkham Asylum.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
So
100%.
like, where's the niceness? And I mean, by the time this one starts off, I see him more as docile than nice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think it's kind of both. I mean, I'm again interpretations, but the fact that there is still some layer of I can be cool there kind of makes me feel like I don't know if you're fully there. And then I rewatched the first film. This is the line that officially solidified why I could never fully see Arthur Fleck as Joker. Because when he says, when a certain character visits him and then something bad happens, he says, I'm off my meds. I was like, see, that line right there kind of kills it. You don't strike me as I truly succumb to the madness. This is who I officially am. It just feels more like you're having you're not on your meds, so now you're kind of losing it and stuff like that. But when you are on your meds, as we see actually in this movie, you're calm again.
Well, that is a big part of the first one is the mental health aspect, and
Yeah.
how
And that's why I still feel like was this movie initially supposed to be a Joker movie, or did Warner Brothers kind of want to make one off of what Todd Phillips already wanted to make, or whoever wrote the film and everything like that, right? It just feels like it's two different worlds that feel blending, sort of working because different interpretations, but still I just can't really look at this first film as well as just say, I feel like you're a great Joker. No, I just feel like you're playing a great character who also happens to have the name Joker. I just can't see you as Clown Prince of Crime, which maybe they're not going for, but at the same time,
Like,
then
there were moments where they could have made him feel like that, and
that's
if
where I
they
thought this was going.
and push the limits. Like we already
Exactly.
see his crazy supporters. Like we see in the trailers even that he has people out in in clown masks and everything else outside the courthouse. Like this could have been the moment where like this is the beginning of his rise as Joker.
Exactly.
And then we know the Joker story from there. We don't need another movie because we already gotten so many renditions of Joker and Batman and everything else. We don't need more. Like
Mhm.
you could just be like, all right, this was his origin, and now he is, he has his clown posse. Like this is who he is.
They are
And-
insane.
Yeah, and I hate like Morgan, you're right. Like if they just went further,
Somebody's
then
gonna see
this
Joker.
would have been. I could have definitely said what.
Nothing.
Never mind, I'm leaving it alone. I didn't even hear what you said. Like if they just went further and not keep pulling back, yeah, maybe Arthur Fleck could have been maybe a variation of Clown Prince of Crime because he's got a freaking army on him. He's got loyal supporters. The stuff that he started in the first one, I actually really like the concept of what he started with the whole kill the rich kind of campaign thing in the first one. Honestly, now I'm not saying I agree, but I don't like rich people either. Honestly, so there is a side of me that's like, I really do get in a way where you're coming from, but I don't fully agree. No, I don't agree with how the results have gone. But yeah, y'all could have gone with that because Joker has gangs and stuff like that. Seriously.
But
But
this is why I like
dark.
it. This is why I like the ending though, because that kind of happens. I can make the argument that happens, except in order to make that argument, I have to spoil the movie. I'm not going to do that. but I can make that argument. By the time the movie ends, that is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. But
Sure.
it's important. Like,
I don't disagree with that, but I also don't like the choices they made in the ending.
No. The execution is bad. I fully acknowledge that the execution is bad because there's little snippets that are really good that are kind of getting us to that point. But I think we all were expecting to go and sit in this movie, even if it was a musical. We were still going to go into this movie where he's where he is in full Joker mode, and it's just him building his empire essentially, and it is him finally getting to the point to where by the time the movie ends, he has his army, and now he definitely is the Clown Prince of Crime. I think that's what we were all expecting.
And the way the film ends, like, I will say this, execution-wise, if they took different directions, different choices throughout the entire movie and how that ending goes, and also, I can't say that, but it's important to say. How do I got to think about how to maybe word around this somehow.
It is a struggle it is such a struggle not doing the spoilers because there is like so many thoughts I could like finalize and speak on if I could explain spoilers.
Yeah, but shit, hang on. Okay. Let me try it like this. The issue I have with the ending also is, damn it, that's gonna spoil too.
It kind of makes everything feel pointless.
100%.
There you go.
100%.
It definitely makes the whole movie feel pointless, but I do like that that's where they're gonna go because it,
if they set that up better, I'd be a fan. But they have to do it better because I can't say it makes this movie pointless. It makes the first movie kind of pointless too, actually, in a way.
I agree.
But damn it, I hate not doing spoilers. Let's just say what you said about the whole, if I'm going to have an origin, make it multiple choice, that actually does work with it. Yes, but this movie needed to, in my opinion, embrace the madness, honestly. But because they didn't, I feel like it doesn't work 100%.
Yeah, I'm still racking my brain on like what exactly was the like character study, because like I said in the first one, it's kind of got that mental health message. It's almost like a nurture.
And they still have that in this one, but
not as much though. Like he's been saying, they dialed it back, and
and they did 100%. They did.
I feel like it's the curse of the sequel of I didn't want to do a sequel, but they gave me a lot of money for it. So now it's like, okay, I gotta try, but I don't have a full-on thought-through idea like I did the first one.
I don't hate that it's dialed back, at least in the beginning, because he was taking his medication. And so, like, because there is a moment where Harley was like, I want you to, you need to stop taking your meds. And he's like, I already have. So, like, the thing is like, I can understand in the beginning, like, this mental health bit and this insanity bit be more dampened, and then we see it re-ramp up again after he's off his meds again.
Yeah.
Because that's also a nod into like mental institutions and like the different drugs, like the very docile type drugs that they would actually make their inmates take. So yeah, like it was a very, very cool to see those concepts because it's taking in some really gross, grungy, grueling kind of topics from like previous mental health practices and mental institutions and even prisons and stuff. Like there's a lot of intriguing layers here that they just kind of like set before you and then they move on without ever like utilizing them. I feel like a lot of things are half used.
Because we got to get to the next musical number.
Yeah.
Phoenix may not have wanted to do the movie. By the way, this is in chat for anybody that's listening to us later on Spotify. He may not have wanted to do it, but as we stated earlier, nobody phones anything in. There's not one phone in performance. Like even with the musical numbers, they absolutely could have phoned that shit in. They're about it. They put in the work. I wouldn't be surprised if Joaquin Phoenix learned how to tap dance specifically for this movie. I mean, everybody definitely brings their A game. So, I mean, respect for that, but execution.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just a big problem there. It's just a big problem, and
I forgive a lot of what this movie is because of that ending. I'm gonna be honest, because that ending to me, I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much.
It just made both films feel pointless, honestly.
I mean, yes,
but again, if the second film just embrace the madness, build that empire to the point where that happens, I'm like, or even a different variation of that happening. Like, okay, I can forgive this. I see where you're going with, and not to mention, it also kind of could play into a more recent Batman comic.
Is that the one where he
No, it's the one.
plays Face Off? Oh, the Three Jokers.
Yeah,
You should watch Film Theory because there's a thing that they did on that. I don't know if you.
I did. I saw that long ago.
Yeah,
I gotta
that
watch
one-
that
that
again.
was
I was thinking about
that
that. I was thinking about that the other day actually too, because they had a recent video where they were comparing every live action iteration of Joker and their crimes and who was the worst.
I will say I just saw something. It was like Jared Leto being happy now that he's not the worst Joker. I mean, the motherfucker won an Oscar for his rendition of the Joker. He's doing the same thing in this one. It's just the execution of the movie. So I will take them as I will definitely take the really good with the okay, and he's still a better Joker.
Anything that we dislike with like Arthur or the Joker, to me, it is not Joaquin Phoenix's fault. It is the director's fault. It is the direction he was given
100%.
and the script he was given. Like 100%. I still think that Joaquin Phoenix did an absolutely fantastic job. Even Lady Gaga, there's a couple moments where I wasn't like sold on her role, but most of the time she did a really good fucking job.
And I think that's something that we can
even
all
the
agree
supporting
on,
cast
is that even though this is very much a cash grab, everybody took their money and ran.
Mm-hmm.
They're still giving it their all. Everybody is still trying to make a good movie. That's why I definitely have no problem saying that this is a self-indulgent film, because they are trying to make another fucking Oscar winner. They thought when they were making this, oh, this is going to win awards. It's not. But they thought it was going to, and you can feel it on the screen. Everything about I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if this won something for like set design. I wouldn't be surprised if it won something like that. Cinematography, maybe. I could see that. But movie of the year, story, best actor, actress, supporting, that's probably out the window. But if they decided that they wanted to give them awards for how it looks, I could see that, because they believed, I have no doubts in my mind when they started making this movie, that they believed they were going to win awards, and it shows on the screen. It's so much about every single one of them is like, and it's, to me, it's the thing that I hate the most about filmmaking, is when you get the artists. You know what I mean? It's not actors, it's actors. That's what I get. Like, it just looks like it's not any fun, and that's what this looks like to me. It's like
pretentious.
Thank you, very pretentious. That's
that's another thing. Is like I want to.
I got it from the first one. The first one's better.
I'm gonna go out and say, like, I got a lot of pretentious vibes even from Todd Phillips, you know. So it doesn't surprise me that this was pretentious.
He is on some kind of soapbox.
You know, Todd literally wanted nothing to do with DC when making the Joker 2 film, and yeah, I mean, shit, that goes as far as saying that goes as far as fucking, like, it's blatantly obvious where in the courtroom they say Arthur, fucking play on his last name, whatever, against the city of New York. They don't even say Arkham, and they do that on 2 occasions.
They did?
Gotham, and it's Gotham, but they say both.
But I'm just saying, we're in the universe. Whether you want nothing to do with DC or not, or like, come on. You literally have Arkham Prison. Like, come on. Just say Gotham and move on. No one was. It made it stand out because they didn't just say Gotham.
No, I agree. They caught me by surprise too, because they do call it Gotham. I'm pretty sure, like, a few scenes before that. So it is weird, but at the same time, I was like, all right, you're trying the realistic route. Okay, I want to say that's what they were doing in the first one anyway, but I'm pretty sure they call it Gotham the whole time. By the way, for anybody that doesn't know, Gotham is a nickname for New York. Just saying. If anybody out there didn't know, all right, just making sure. But that did take me out of that portion of the scene, honestly, when he says that. Versus the people in New York, I went, what?
I don't think I full on paid attention to that shit.
Let's be honest, it's such a big. Gotham is such a big freaking nickname for New York because of the comics. Like, the comics is what drove that nickname home. You know,
well, that's what Gotham's based on.
Well, exactly. That's what every freaking superhero major city's based on, is fucking New York. Like,
well, Marvel actually just does it in New York. They said, "Fuck
exactly.
We're not gonna come up with fake names." Yeah, I'm gonna look something up. You guys go ahead for a minute.
Yeah.
I have so
going-
much more I could say if we went spoiler territory.
I'm gonna say something that's going to give me a lot of hate, honestly, too. But I kind of feel like I stand by it now because, like I said, I never got the full feeling that Arthur Fleck was fully Joker because it just felt super, just too different in a way, like two worlds combining. But after watching this film, how much they dialed it back, and even what the character decides to do in film, you know what? I'm not even scared. Cheez-It told me. I think this is the actual of my official worst Joker. I stand by that.
This movie or the whole thing?
Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix is now officially my worst Joker.
Wow, hot take.
But,
you know I got an Oscar, right?
But I have to say this. When you said performance-wise, I agree. It's not even a performance thing. Joaquin brings it. He is great in this role as Arthur Fleck. As Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix deserves awards and stuff like that. He deserves praise. But it's what the story decided to do with this concept of Joker. And here's this saying. I have never disliked Jared Leto's Joker. I have actually been a fan of him since I first saw him. Okay, when I first saw him, when I saw the movie. When I first saw this, I was like,
he has loved this
interesting.
man. He has loved Jared Leto's Joker for
I
ages.
still haven't seen enough of him to form an opinion.
That's true, but
That's
for what
very
it's worth,
fair.
I liked
10
it.
minutes.
I just
Maybe.
like, okay, it's different, and I've been saying like I'm okay with different interpretations of the Joker and stuff like that. And sure, like Arthur Fleck's take is a very different one, but I still have my issues with it. But the difference is, I feel like Jared still feels more like a Joker to me than Arthur. Honestly, like it's different, but I feel like you're the Joker here. I don't feel that with Arthur. I just feel completely disturbed person. But again, nope, we can't talk about that actually. I know it's so hard.
Can I request like we take 10 minutes after we give our rating to be like, okay, now here's a quick spoiler talk. If you don't want to hear
'cause it
spoilers,
will not be
fucking leave.
Fuck you. It won't be 10 minutes. No, it will not be 10 minutes.
Ah!
I know you too. It will not be 10 minutes.
That's true. He has a point. It wouldn't be 10 minutes. It's but
Hey, but you know,
again,
to go back to your Clown Prince of Crime, I mean, Jared Leto feels just like that. Honestly,
yeah, he really
No,
does.
they
He
were
sure
absolutely
does.
leaning into the whole gangster thing with it, and I just haven't.
Yeah.
I want to like him. I just haven't seen enough. He does not around long enough.
Facts.
That's true.
the
And I'm
haircut.
always gonna be mad. Release the haircut, please. Hell, that one's actually gonna give us a more abusive story between Harley and Joker. But again, Joaquin Phoenix does great. I'm not talking about performance.
The
He does
traditional
great.
beast for Morgan.
And if I look at this film not as a DC Joker film, then I give this film credit as like, you know what? If I separate it,
Shut up, Luke.
I'm sort of okay. I'm actually mostly okay, but again, they lean a lot into him being quote unquote the Joker. And
Yeah.
that's where my issues lie. So with what this film does and how I kind of felt about the first film, and definitely with this film not going further with the madness, like just embrace that instead of doing maybe the quote unquote split personality thing, you're kind of the worst for me now because I don't look at you as a Joker. You're just not to me anymore. You're just Arthur Fleck with the fake name Joker, and you do some crazy shit, but you're not there, and I have a huge problem with it. I just can't get that out of my head.
See, I don't
hate it.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't hate what we get. I really like what we do get in terms of like this Arthur Fleck and Joker battle. I don't mind the idea of that maybe Joker is a split personality, because there is usually in split personality disorders, there is a personality that is the dominant personality. By the end of the first Joker, the reins have flopped. They've switched hands. Joker is the main dominant one. I think from getting incarcerated and being forced on these medications, it has basically dormatized Joker and has allowed Arthur to come back as the dominant personality. But on the flip side of this, if Todd Phillips had the fucking balls to push this further where this film should have gone, we would have had Joker back at the reins again.
I think it's a wrong way to phrase it like that because he had the balls to make this version, period. This is a ballsy move. It really is. You're coming off of an Oscar-winning film and you're making a fucking musical. Like I look at it like this: the first film
You're not
is
wrong.
it's an implied middle finger to us. This one is just a straight up middle finger. Like he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna make my movie how I want with who I want. Fuck you guys. This is it. You loved the first one. You'll probably love this one. We don't.
And we didn't.
And that's where the gamble came in. But he made the movie that he wanted to make. This is 100%. You can't blame the studio, which is odd for a Warner Brothers movie.
No, hold on. You can because they asked for this. They greenlit it and stuff.
No,
like
they
that.
paid him. They paid him. They didn't ask for this. They paid him to make his movie, probably under the same pretense that we went into it with, that we were going to get a different movie that was going to follow a different storyline, that was probably going to get us an actual Joker, right? He decided to make his fucking movie. This is his movie. He doesn't get to blame anybody else for himself for the thing that this is going on. Warner Bros. Fucked up by wanting a sequel in the first place. That was their mistake. But I guarantee this is not what they wanted.
Probably not. No.
That's why the trailers keep making it seem like it's something completely different.
And
They need you to go sit in the seat and go fucking watch the movie.
So I want your guys' thought on this. This is one of the things you sent us, Dreaded, that Todd Phillips actually says that Joaquin Phoenix was never actually the Joker. And this is his quote. He's always been Arthur Fleck. He's never been this thing that's been put upon him, this idea that Gotham people put on him and that he represents. He's just an unwitting icon. I call bullshit on that one.
I call extreme bullshit on that one, especially considering the ending of the first fucking movie.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
I do.
Because the ending of this one. I don't. I absolutely do not. And that's why I like the first one more, because it's implied. It's all implied. It's up to you. You decide whether or not he is or isn't. You decide if it's all in his head or not. You make that decision. In this one, he's just giving you all the info. It's right there. It's all right there for you. There's no questioning anything now.
You know, funny enough, Luke, you keep saying like everything was implied in the first one. I actually never felt that. I actually felt that everything that happened in the first one was actually pretty much just fact. I think when they talked about it when the first one came out, was it in his head? Like
I feel like the way they nuanced the way you receive those facts, Dreaded.
They nuance. They leave a lot of stuff in that movie up for interpretation, whether or not he did stuff. Particularly, the biggest one I can think of off the top of my head is the neighbor. Does he kill the neighbor or not? In this one, you find out no. But
I never thought.
Actually, I think she shows up later on in the scene too. But I never mind. I could be full of shit. But there's a lot of scenes in there, a lot of shit in there where it's.
I never thought he killed her.
Especially in the ending of that movie when he's sitting in the fucking prison and he's talking to that psychiatrist. Has this all just been him talking about shit in his head?
I thought it was just a follow-up to everything he did.
That's the thing.
That's what I always got.
Because that therapist he was talking to is the same therapist we see in this one, and you see him walking away from the therapist with like blood on the bottom of his shoes, and so it was people assume
that he killed the therapist.
However, I looking back at it and seeing that she's alive in this one, I think that was just an artistic thing of like, oh, the Joker's in his shadow.
No, like, you can't. No, you can't say that because
yes, I can.
This movie wasn't a thing when that came out. You can say that now because this is here, but when that first movie came out, we didn't. There was no sequel announced. There was nothing. That was the ending. We
don't know. It may not have been announced. Doesn't mean it wasn't in the talks yet.
It was not in the talks. There's no fucking way. The only reason why you can say that now is because this movie gives you all of the answers. Now everything that happened in the first one probably was in his head, but you don't know that until this comes out and tells you, yeah, he's literally all this shit is in his head. He has this fantastical image of what the Joker should be and how he acts and the performance that he gives, because to him, that's his freedom. As soon as that makeup goes on, you call him the Joker. He's like, I'm the coolest fucking dude around. And he legit, like with his dancing and shit, he thinks he's the coolest dude in the room.
He kind of is.
But in that first one, none of that's there. So it's all like, it's very much up for you to decide. We all agree that probably is exactly how it's shaked down, but that's not what they're telling you until this comes out. That's why I don't like the direction that they went, because they just fucking give me all the answers.
Interesting.
But the ending is cool. The ending is cool though.
I still don't like it.
But I really don't like the ending.
Moral of my story, the whole thing I was gonna say is, as well as his performance is, Joaquin became my least favorite live action Joker because of all the, I feel, well, I don't want to say mistakes, just the choices made particularly for the sequel, definitely, and even just the vibe of the first one. That's what I'm gonna say. The vibe of the first one, because if they just went different with this film, I could believe you did become a solid, in my opinion, Joker. But no, you just didn't, and therefore, as Kim say, Jared Leto is bad. I always disagree because I liked him a lot, and he feels more Joker to me than Joaquin Phoenix ever can now.
Yeah, I think calling him bad is a little bit too much because he doesn't do anything. Like he's just But when he is there, he definitely embraces the fucking clowniness.
Mm-hmm.
So
do we want to score this now or what
well, I have just one last question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So first things first, Lady Gaga actually signed this before the script was finished.
Yeah, because the first one won awards.
And then this was actually contemplated as being put on as a Broadway show before committing to making a movie. And
oh god,
yeah, I just want your guys' thoughts on that.
I would not have seen that. I would not have seen that.
Honestly,
I think it makes more sense.
And not only does it make more sense, but it probably would have done better.
I agree.
Probably would have, but I'm not watching it. I wouldn't have gone for that.
Oh, there's no way, because I can't travel to New York like that to see this shit. I gotta wait for the low rent version to go on country tour.
I was gonna say Broadway does tour. May not be the big actors there in New York, but yes.
Exactly.
New York's also pretty reasonable to get to, just so you know.
Reasonable to get to. I've never been to a Broadway show. I don't know how tickets go or anything. I just don't.
It varies. The Broadway tickets vary, especially if you hit matinee.
Yeah,
but
so I agree with you, Morgan. If they actually did this on Broadway and you got Phoenix and fucking Lady Gaga to go on Broadway for like a month, for sure,
absolutely. and then you could eventually, if it did really well on Broadway and it gets all the hype on Broadway, then you can make a film adaptation of the Broadway show.
And then we hate that, and then we end up hating that. So
yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. And in that case, all the pretension and the self-indulgent shit that they do in this movie would make way more sense if it's on Broadway to me. That. All right, be as self-indulgent.
They already want it to be very theatrical, so it kind of fits that Broadway setting.
100%.
And funny enough, if you were to go see it in New York, you almost get like this fun immersion into Gotham, if you will. So that adds an additional like placeboed layer to a Broadway show. But yeah, I there's a lot I love and hate about this film, and it.
With him though, that if these aren't called Joker, they probably are better.
Yep.
Agreed. Yep. No, I 100% agree with that.
That's what's yep. And again, that's why he's my least favorite Joker now, live action Joker now.
So now I am good to score.
Shit, I didn't think this through.
I'm giving it a 5.
Buddy, that's right where I'm at too. I'm also giving it a 5.
Yeah, and it's a 5 strictly on the back of the performances. I can appreciate the filmmaking, and I can appreciate that Todd Phillips said, "All right, I'll do this, but I'm making my movie." I can appreciate that. Do you understand how much pull you gotta have in that fucking business to be able to do that? There's only certain directors and filmmakers in general that get to do shit like that. So I give him credit for the fact that he made his movie. I don't have to like it, but he made it. And I dig the ending. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
I hate the ending. And though great, he had a pair of balls to do what he wanted to do. If you're gonna put the name Joker on it, you should have a pair of balls to take it to where it should go.
Mm-hmm.
With that being the title.
You know what would have had even more balls would have been for him to be like, "Fuck your money, I'm not doing this," and let somebody else take charge. Like, that takes balls too.
2.5.
Ooh, higher than I thought.
Credit where credit's due for the great filmmaking.
The filmmaking is so good. I love the visuals of this.
The story, the story, where things went, and how disappointing to call this film a Joker film and not really feel like, oh my god, they still do that. Never mind. Joker, you ruined it for me. With some interesting ideas, and you know me. Well, for me, if it was a straight up 5, that means I think it's a good movie. I just personally don't like it, but I don't think this.
You have a different rating score, like rating system.
Yeah, I have reasons for why films get their rating. Actually, if it was a 5, Dune.
What? Don't say it like that. I have reasons for why I score my movies the way I score them too.
I do too.
Right?
We all
I'm
have
just
our
playing with you.
reasons.
I'm just playing.
I would say for me, a 5 is like a movie like Dune. Good movie, I'll admit, but just personally, I'm not a fan. But
So-
this one, good filmmaking, but not necessarily good movie. That I don't like.
I'm never gonna watch this film again. Like,
Oh, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I forgot I watched it, honestly. Kind of an hour after I saw it.
Can I be honest? I don't know. I don't think it was very long, but I fell asleep.
I was on Raven's shoulder.
At one point in this movie, I fell asleep.
oh,
Maybe
yeah.
I was. Hey, and again, look. It's been kind of stressful over here, right?
Yeah,
I've been
it's fair,
very
that's
tired,
fair,
so
that's
maybe
fair.
that had something to play into it. But like, yeah, I fell asleep. I never fall asleep during movies. That's
I
a
just
lie,
want to
but,
say
like,
too, I'm happy you brought up Dune, because this film, though yes, it had a big budget and we see where it went. Dune 2 had the exact same budget,
Interesting.
and
But,
that
okay,
bitch is
no.
winning crazy awards.
But okay though, all right, because I have my feelings on Dune, and just to put things in perspective for you, I think I would give Dune like a 7, and it's mostly off the back of the visuals and the filmmaking.
Sure.
But Dune is just an all-around much better movie with the story. I think Dune's
100%.
I think Dune is boring as fuck, but the
I
story is way more intriguing than this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just goes. That's a great thing that you said. The same budget, two very drastic different films.
I was on Raven's shoulder at some point, just like, am I falling asleep? I'm kind of falling asleep. Just wake up real quick, actually.
Give me a nudge.
All right. Any other thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap up tonight's episode?
I'm not mad that I saw this. I mean, I definitely would say if you are even morbidly intrigued, watch it. You know, maybe don't pay to go watch it, but watch it.
Or if you do pay, go on $5 night like I did.
Oh, and I saw this movie with Breon and Jess. Jess cried.
Really?
When this movie was over, she had tears. She loved everything about this movie. So take that for what you want. But she was openly weeping. She loved Arthur Fleck and the whole thing that was going on with him. Tears.
Like, there is, as I am known to be the emotional movie watcher, I did not cry. But I have since the first film, like very early on in the first film, I do have a soft spot for Arthur Fleck. I do really have a lot of empathy for this character and where he's at, because he has gone through a lot. And
that first film does it very well with like
absolutely
is like the system failed him. Maybe
100%.
he doesn't become the Joker if they can just give him some decent healthcare.
That's why I was kind of rooting for him to fall into the madness. Like, yes, take your vengeance on the world.
Yeah.
My final closing thought, Joaquin, sorry, you're done. Barry Keoghan, let's see what you got for this Batman universe with Robert Pattinson.
Fuck, he is up next, isn't he? God damn it. Okay, all right. One last thing.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Hurry up.
I don't need any more Jokers.
Fair enough. I need you guys to wrap this up for me. My stomach hurts.
Enjoy your poop. He's definitely going poop.
Oh yeah.
That's a poop run right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. On that note. All right, everybody. We are the Wannabes Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Morgan. That's Luke, and Dreda just ran away to take a poop. But as a reminder, we're going to be live next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, both on YouTube and Twitch. If you are not already subscribed to us on YouTube, please head on over, hit that subscribe button, because the more subscribers we get, the more slots for emotes we unlock. So
yeah, so we can have a poop emoji.
Exactly. But everybody, next week we are going to be reviewing the released technically 2006 at a film festival, but 2007 here at national release will be the throwback film Hatchet for our next spooky movie review, which I have never seen Hatchet, so it'll be an interesting time.
Oh, I can't wait. This is gonna be fun.
It looks interesting from what I've seen so far.
Can't wait. I seriously cannot wait. In fact, I pretty much know. I feel like I know everything you're gonna have to say about it, but I'm excited to hear you say it. It's gonna be good.
So I'm gonna say I saw everything coming.
Kinda.
Okay. We'll see.
We'll
We'll
get
see
into it
then.
later.
We'll see then.
Yeah.
But everybody, just as a reminder, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching us up as Podcast Wanna or the Wannabes Podcast. We'll show up either way. And then also find us on TikTok. We have officially 2 TikToks live, but we are working on getting more out. That way you can enjoy some of our funniest, most entertaining moments in short form on the go. And then
I'm not
also
funny.
being on the go, you can listen to any of our shows on the go through Spotify, and more podcast areas coming soon. So yeah, we're super excited. We're super excited about all the developments we've been making, and another fun thing in the works that the guys already know about, but you guys may not, is I am working officially on a merch store. So there'll be fun Wannabes merch coming soon.
Get your popcorn.
Yes. But for now, guys, have a great night. We'll catch you next week for the movie review for Hatchet. Hey, next time, don't forget the popcorn, all right?
Enjoy your poops. Don't push too hard. You'll get a hernia.
Yeah. Take care of your bowels.
Take care of your bowels.
Bye.